Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Friday. Okay, I forgot what day it was. Hoy, seriously, and I just typed up on their Aloha Oracle Friday. All the things. So, we're on Aloha Oracle Friday. I only have 3 decks plus the usual one we start with today because my brain feels like it's been in software update mode. So I'm just going to start really quick with this. The Oracle Friday guidelines. For anyone who's never watched, I write these down simply based on the fact that if I don't, I'll just be rambling for about 10 minutes trying to explain everything. So, number 1, it's probably getting closer because I'm telling you this, it has to be like the 3rd time in a row of doing this. I didn't do a perspective 2 weeks ago because I was at Comic-Con, but I don't know what's happening. So, yeah. Within a few weeks, it's probably going to be coming pretty quick now. Compromise. I don't know who you need to compromise with, but if you are knocking heads with somebody, you have got to come up with a compromise. Something that works for the 2 of you or something that works for the whole group. Otherwise, you know, it gets sketchy and it causes stress, it causes anxiety, it causes just all kinds of problems. All right. So, compromise, it's hard, but it's necessary. So, let's see here. Let's see what the book has to say. In order to create a happy outcome for this situation, you will find it necessary to compromise. Allow yourself some time to become clear about what is truly important to you. Also, take note of matters where you would be open to changing your position. Work toward an agreement where everyone wins. Be open to cooperation that would allow you to get what you need while also assisting others in fulfilling their desires. Be objective about finding a balance between respecting everyone else's viewpoints and still being true to your own. That part is the most important, still being true to your own. Do not sacrifice your beliefs because somebody wants to have their way. That's what compromise is. And if someone's not willing to compromise with you, then you need to wait until they are. You do not have to sacrifice what you believe and who you are because someone else is being selfish. All right. So, I don't know who needs to see this, but if you have a question that's lingering out there, yes. Okay. Yes. So far, none of these are starting a story. So I guess these are all just random cards today. Usually on the Aloha Perspective on Oracle Friday, somehow they all turn into a story, but whatever it is, you know, yes. So if you're waiting for an answer, there's your sign. If it resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate with you and you're kind of like, well, then, you know. Choose a new direction. So this could mean a million things, okay? If you're unhappy wherever it is you are at, then maybe it's time, maybe this is your sign to choose a new direction. All right. Now, I don't want to steer anyone in the wrong direction here because, you know, a lot of people are like, that's it, I'm quitting my job. No, you have bills to pay. You have adult responsibilities to take care of. So basically start making a plan. Come up with a plan. Come up with a plan that works for you, that works, you know, that keeps you in a good place, but that may send you in a new direction. Maybe it's school. Maybe it's, I have a friend who just got her degree and I think she just turned 58. So if you are going to sit there and say, I'm too old, you're never too old. You're never too old, you know, because it's an accomplishment. All right. And it can help her in her career and in, you know, negotiations when it comes to salary and whatnot. So there you go. Choose a new direction. And last but not least, listen to your intuition. How many times have we all just ignored our spidey tingles, our little spidey instincts? You know who you are. I'm one of them. I tend to ignore my spidey instincts all the time. So listen to your intuition. Your intuition is your soul. Your soul knows. Your soul just knows, you know? So, yeah. Those are the cards for that. Alrighty. Let's go to the Heal Yourself reading cards. For anybody that might be popping on now, just a reminder that Monday we will be on gratitude lesson number 28. That's pretty exciting. I can't believe, right? I mean, just over a month has gone by because we started that in June on, again, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays. And then the other 2 days are fixed days. So, like I said, we'll take a couple days off after Monday, and then the following Monday we'll start on day 1 of 30 of self-love. And that one will be a little bit more fun because that one actually has activities. Okay, that's the one that's going to make you think and is going to make you really kind of dive into your mind. And we'll talk about each one because, you know, a lot of times we just go with the surface thought, right? But when it comes to self-love, we have to go deeper. We have to reach in deeper and, you know, give ourselves the opportunity to, you know, really kind of feel our way through self-love. So, I don't know, maybe I should focus more on these cards. Oh, there it is. So I'm like, nothing's coming out. I don't know. That doesn't feel right. Is there another card that should... There it is. That's the one. So just for somebody, beauty was the first card, but that one didn't feel right. So this may be very specific to one person or several people or a handful of people, but it's not the general guidance card. However, I will read it for you really quick. Beauty. Recognize your inner and outer beauty. Okay, so this is something I need to work on as well. You are beautiful, special, unique, and attractive. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt good about what you see? Did you know that your features can literally change based on how you feel about yourself and your life? That's true. Your internal experiences are etched on your face and your body. People can feel your energy when you enter a room. When a person who is not thought of as being physically good looking connects to their own inner light, wisdom, and warmth, the glow that emanates from within makes them extremely appealing and attracts people and opportunities towards them. Focus on what you love about yourself and allow yourself to shine. If you are challenged by how you see yourself, this could be a perfect time for an internal and external makeover. So that one, you know, the only struggle I have with this is when a person who is not thought of as being physically good looking, we need to stop basing our thoughts on what people look on the outside and really start thinking about and looking towards their inside. I mean, you know, you could have, you know, people out there who are aesthetically pleasing, which is kind of what they're talking about here, but in the opposite way, who are just so ugly inside, you know, and then you might have someone who may not be as aesthetically pleasing, who could have the most beautiful soul. And who are people going to migrate towards? They're going to migrate towards a person with a beautiful soul, because exactly like this says, your glow, this glow and this warmness you put out, it's drawing people in. Now, a lot of times, the people who we might consider aesthetically pleasing on the outside, they might feel this way because they might be insecure. They may think people only like them for what they have, what they look like. And there's probably, to be honest with you, a lot of self-love lacking there. But it just comes out angry and mean because it's a defense mode. So before we judge those people as well, try to get to the bottom of it, because you never know, all right? But the way I've always seen it, and, you know, the way I've always tried to look at it, is that, you know, everybody is beautiful and unique in their own way. Everybody. Now, there are going to be people out there who say, you got to be joking me. No, because it's what's in here that matters the most. You know, I've had to learn that along the way. And I don't know. I mean, there was a time when I was a lot thinner and a lot younger. And, you know, I thought everything was based on how I looked like on the outside, even though I did respect what I saw on the inside, but I didn't respect myself. Because even back then, I truly believed that everybody is beautiful in their own unique way, in their own special way. You know, even if you're an identical twin, you know, you may be similar to your sibling, you may even look exactly like them, but you're different on the inside. There are things about you that make you different. And that's what we need to zero in on. So, ooh, this is an intro. Okay. I don't know why I always get the giggles, but card number 33, sexual arts. Good morning, baby sibling. I know, such a child. There's always one card that just likes to throw me, isn't there? Bring more light into your sexuality. So as I said, I struggle with self-love. I struggle immensely with self-love. Now the interesting thing is I pulled up a healing card for myself last weekend, and this is the one that came up because because of the trauma I suffered when I was a kid, I have what they call dissociative disorder. So a lot of times when things that you really want to happen are happening, it seems too good to be true, or you get triggered, so you disappear. You just kind of poof out. All right. And I'm single, so I don't have a way to work on that and make it better. But, I try to work with myself on a mental level to just try to be in the moment and exist in the moment. And I don't mean to giggle. It's just, a lot of these things are just, they come out of me, and I guess I worry too much what other people are going to think. So starting right now, don't fucking care. All right. Because this is about helping people who might be in my situation. When we suffer trauma, or any kind of trauma, that is of the, I don't know, violating a person's personal space. I don't want to trigger anybody. Because I really need people to hear this. We get into a place where, we tend to zone out. That was always my thing. That was not ever intentional. It was how I protected myself. And it's how I protected myself for a long time. And unfortunately that becomes, a habit. And so you dissociate. And I know we talked about this a long time ago in a different topic about dissociation. So if you find yourself, before I read this card, let's just go over some basic guidelines from the talk we had like a billion years ago. In fact, I don't even know if I still have my notes on that. I might. I'm not sure if I do, but I might. So, let's see. Nope, that's parental relationships, commonplace. Depression and anger. I know, sorry, you're watching me do this live. You're like, great, Shelly Marie, did not sign up for this. I just want the news, lady. So anyways, I can't find it, but I know there was a topic quite a few months ago where I talked about dissociative disorder. If you have a partner that you feel may be going through this, don't give up on them so quick, okay? That's first and foremost what I want to tell you. Don't give up on them right away. There are ways to guide them. There are ways to guide them out of the dissociation so they trust you. All right. Now, there are going to be people who just kind of throw themselves all in and just think that, their body is what everybody loves. And so they don't a lot of times have a lot of respect for themselves. And I'm not judging. Okay. We've been there, done that. But if you are in a partnership with somebody, be patient, be gentle, be kind, be loving. Let them know they're in a safe place. All right. And give them time to trust you. Sometimes it might happen like that. Other times it may take a while. Okay. So, I can't give any personal experiences of my own because, again, like I said, and I'm not throwing out there I'm single so people feel bad for me. I'm just saying it's hard for me to really kind of give any example on that because I am. So I do have personal experiences by myself. That's right. You heard me, by myself. And that isn't meant to make anybody uncomfortable. But I have been working on that, the trust and feeling these feelings. And when you get to that point where it's starting to feel like, yeah, baby, but then you shut down because it feels like it's associated with something horrible, something dirty, something gross, something icky, all across the board. And it has taken me a long time to get to a point where I've actually learned how to enjoy that feeling. So if you're like me, then, just guide yourself. Show yourself that you're in a safe place. Remind yourself that you are in charge. You are in charge. If you're by yourself, if you're with somebody else, you don't necessarily have to tell them what you're going through. But if it's somebody you trust and it's a partner that you feel you can be open with, it might be something you want to tell them. Because you want to enjoy the experience, especially if it's somebody you love, right? Somebody that you're with and you want to be with so badly, and then but you're just so afraid you're just gonna poof out. So be honest. If they love you, they will understand. They may or may, and that's wrong. That's wrong of me to say. I'm sorry. They may love you and still not understand. But if you're open and honest about these things, and if you feel comfortable with it, not everybody's comfortable about that. So that's why sometimes I think it's important that if you don't feel like you can talk to somebody just yet, I'm going to throw the suggestion in. Maybe seek therapy, somebody who can help you through and kind of help you navigate this odd map. All right? Because intimacy is, it's the true, well, being with someone sexually is a true intimate act. And when you have that choice taken away from you in any respect, then it causes your trust wall, your distrust wall to go up. And so you may bring it down for someone you care about, but you may automatically throw it back up the minute you're triggered. And that's what it really is. It's all about triggers. And that's what I've been battling through. I've been battling through, healing my triggers, not fixing them. You can't fix a trigger, but you can heal them to a point where they're either not as disruptive or not disruptive at all. Like you're just able to go, okay, you know what? That came up, I healed it, or I felt it, and then I feel, I don't know how to put this. The feeling came up and I healed it. And you may have to heal it over and over and over again until one day you may find it's no longer a trigger. Or it's just a trigger that you can control and you can handle. That you can just swat away like a bug. All right, so let's read about sexual arts. I hope that made sense. So, bring more light into your sexuality. That's another thing. This is where self-love truly comes in. And yes, in all forms of self-love, but really honoring and appreciating your body and what it can do. Okay? So, keeping sexuality alive is an art form very few people truly understand. Are you sexually attracted to your partner every day? Sex energy only occurs where there is sexual polarity. Everyone has both masculine and feminine qualities to gift each other. The only time there's a sexual spark is when one person is embodying more of their masculine energy and the other person is embodying more of their feminine energy. The masculine is the unchanging witness, presence, direction, decision-making, trying to bring everything to closure and consciousness itself. The feminine is change, life force, light, flowing movement, Mother Nature, and emotions. Do not buy into the myth that sexual attraction eventually dies in long-term relationships. Sexual polarity is an art that takes practice. It can be so subtle and last a lifetime if you're constantly reinventing your gifts and using an open heart. I know a lot of people. Everybody thinks that at a certain age you just stop having sex. Not true. All right. In fact, there's a place in Florida. I won't name the community, but there's a place in Florida where it had at one point some of the highest STD numbers because, the women don't have to worry about getting pregnant, right? Because it's a retirement community. But these people were sexually active. So don't believe these myths that if you're married a long time or if you live to be a certain age, that life just stops. It doesn't. It doesn't. But you have to involve yourself. You have to keep things lively and keep the spark going, right? That's why some people role play. I mean, do what makes you happy. I know a lot of people who have been in marriages for a long time, who have been in relationships for a long time, who are older even, who have good active sexual lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, they're still human. They're still human. I knew people, in their early 80s that were just, and they didn't care. They just talk about it. It's like, yeah, why are we so ashamed of this? We got to take the stigma off of this. All right? If you enjoy it, do it. Do it. But do it safely. All right? And with consent. All right? So, action. Feminine essence people. Instead of directly telling your masculine partner what you want, as this tends to kill polarity, invite them into action through expressing your feelings. Your speech could be erotic and enticing instead of functional and efficient. Let them know how you're feeling and let them be inspired to direct you there. That sounds exciting. Masculine essence, people. Your greatest gift is constant presence. No matter what your feminine partner is feeling or doing, constantly penetrate their display and see the light that is shining for you. The feminine may come at you like a slap to the face or your favorite kiss. Stay with their energy so the feminine knows that no matter what they're feeling, you are there. Now remember, the feminine and masculine does not necessarily mean a man or a woman, because everybody embodies both of these things. They embody the energy of masculine and feminine. So whoever's on point that night, you know your job. All right, so let's go with the New Orleans Oracle deck. One of my favorite decks. We'll finish off with the Enchanted Unicorn. I love the Enchanted Unicorn. So let's see what we got here. Oh, there's one. Let's see if we need to draw a few. Nope. La 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 la. What does everybody need to hear? What does everybody need to hear? And again, while I'm shuffling these, if you guys could please send some good healing vibes to older sibling. Her brain's about to split right out of her head. So I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Oh. All right, let's see if there's any more. Nope. All right. First one, growth. Growth. All right, you see Mother Earth there, being the mother to Earth. Growth. What do I have to say about growth? Let's just read the book on that one. Growth is different for everybody. I recently said when I started that I felt like my brain, I always call it recalibrating, but I've decided it's like an iOS update. My brain, whenever I hit these epiphanies or these milestones, my brain just kind of just goes, wow, boom, and when that happens, it feels like everything is shifting in my head. So I've decided now I'm going to call it an iOS update. Now, the bigger the epiphany and the bigger the discovery about myself, the longer it seems to take for me to recalibrate. This one took like 3 days. So I don't even know how I got through the perspectives the last 2 days. I mean, yesterday was so short. I haven't had a 15-minute perspective in months, if even months. It might be longer. But I made the point, got through it, and left. So growth is different for everyone. It could be the beginning of a journey, the middle of a journey, the end of a journey. But no matter what, we are going to have these branches of growth that continue to happen for us. It's not, I have found in my experience and in my perspective that growth is just different phases. We're constantly growing. I had a friend the other day that messaged me on Twitter and said, yeah, well, I feel like, I am a work in progress. And I'm like, we're a work in progress our entire life. We truly are a work in progress our entire life. But we hit, again, these milestones in our life, and it's not necessarily age milestones. It could be, recovering fully from a trigger, or recovering fully from trauma, or recovering from physical injury. I mean, if you've been in a cast for a long time, imagine how free you feel once you're off the crutches and out of the cast. Or if you've had like some kind of surgery that has put you in a wheelchair for a couple, or a mobility scooter for a while, and then you're able to just kind of go. I have a friend who her RSD or CRPS, whichever you want to call it, is in remission. And she just, to see the older pictures of her just from 5 years ago and to see her transformation now, that's growth. And now she's a self-help or a life coach. And, she's so intuitive and so in tune. And she discovered a lot about herself as well. And that's inspiring, so that is growth. Don't be afraid of growth. I know it can be scary. It can feel traumatizing sometimes. It really can, especially when you're not used to it and you're learning how to trust. I got a very personal message from Spirit last night, which was just incredible. And it really kind of opened my eyes to why I struggle with trust and why it always seems like, well, things work out for these people. How come, because I don't trust myself. And that kind of opened my eyes. And last night I went to bed thinking, all right, this is what I have to do. I have to start learning to just trust my instincts, listen to my intuition, just like the other card said. And, to really kind of give this growth thing a chance. So, here you go. It's the first line. You are growing to trust yourself more. See? You are growing to trust yourself more. You are becoming more aware of your intuitive feelings and guidance. I know, I have seen this card before, but I don't remember verbatim what these things say. So I feel like I'm really being validated right now. So let me start that again so I can read the whole thing with flow. You are growing to trust yourself more. You are becoming more aware of your intuitive feelings and guidance. By allowing yourself the time and flexibility to acknowledge and honor these feelings, you are supporting yourself in having the most fulfilling life possible. Stopping to ask yourself how you feel about something as opposed to what you think about something can make all of the difference. Sometimes what feels right may not be the next logical step, but inevitably it will be what is for your highest good. Now, when they say stopping to ask yourself how you feel about something as opposed to what you think about something, that can make all the difference. This goes back to guideline number 2. Do not try to force a card to fit you, because it will cause unnecessary stress and overthinking. And a lot of times what we're doing is we really, really want that to be ours. We really, really want it to hit home in our lives because we're just tired of dealing with the growth thing, right? But this is where personal growth starts. Now, that doesn't mean that if you come back in a month that the card won't resonate with you. The same card could come up, and it may come up just for you because it resonates with you now. I have had a lot of times where I've had readings done for me, where I've done my own readings, and it's just like, this sucks. This totally sucks. And then a month later, the card will come up and will be right side up. And you'll be like, oh, okay. So, I pushed myself through this growth, and now I've found this growth. And so now the card does resonate. And it doesn't even have to be about oracle readings. It could be about life itself. Maybe there's something that you want out there and you can't have it right now. Well, maybe it's not meant for you to have right now, but maybe a year later you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And who knows, somebody else may have gotten it for you. So because, they're like, you know what, you've gone through all this stuff and you really deserve that. So now it's not something that you just desire, you want. It's a gift of somebody telling you, I see you and I see how far your growth has come. And I see, I see the work you've put in, and I thought this would make you happy. And it brings more joy than if you would have just emotionally bought it, right? So this is a lot about what growth is. Growth, it is a constant process, but take a look back at where you started. Don't keep looking back. Look back long enough to see how far you've come. I have 2 great quotes that kind of counteract each other, but my mom used to always tell me, don't look back, you're not going that way. But then older sibling said to me one time, she's like, yeah, but how will you know how far you've come? So I always tell people, when you're in the midst of something, if it's painful and you constantly want to look back to something that felt easier at the time, don't look back, because you're not going that way. But when you pass a milestone and you feel like you're back at the finish line and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to climb this next mountain? Look back long enough to see how far you've come, to see all those other mountains you've already climbed, because you did that. Yes, people may have been on your journey with you. Yes, people may have held you up when you couldn't hold yourself up, but that is also a testament to you trusting other people to do that for you. A lot of times we just want to sit with our own feelings. We want to shut down our own feelings because we don't want to bother other people with it, but we expect to be there for them. It's a two-way street. You have to let people be there for you. If you constantly try to ignore these feelings, they're going to keep sitting there until they fester into something icky, something gross, and they could even cause health problems. They could cause emotional problems. They could cause more mental health problems. I mean, we always say, you got to take time for, you got to take time for your wellness, or you're going to have to make time for your illness. And I realized that the other day when I actually said, you know what, I need to take time for my mental wellness so I don't have to take time for my mental illness. I hate the word mental illness. To me, it just stigmatizes everything. Because, yes, it is an ailment. And yes, it is something that is just kind of chronic and probably stuck with most people who have it forever. Sometimes depression and stuff is caused by trauma. Sometimes it's just a straight up chemical imbalance and you got to deal with it. And that's something I had to come to terms with, is that mine is just a straight up chemical imbalance that, was layered over with trauma. And so, but it runs in my family on both sides. I know nobody likes to hear that because no, we're fine. We know. But you know what? I'm taking the stigma off of it. Because if we take the stigma off of it, more people get help. More people are less ashamed to come forward and say, you know what? Maybe I need a little bit of help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. I made that mistake for a lot of years. And when I finally broke down and started letting people help me and guide me and, be there for me, it was the best thing I ever did. Best thing I ever did. All right, so that's growth. Next card. Ooh, duality. Duality. Struggled with that a little bit in my life. How funny, it's the card right before it. But if we look at the card, you have the woman above and the woman below, right? So there's this duality. It is always good to know oneself and understand where your boundaries begin and end. However, just as life is fluid and ever-changing, we too must be open to flow with the winds of change as needed. You have picked this card because you have experienced an inner conflict over how you present yourself to the world. You have many different sides, including some you may not have even explored yet. You are being supported at this time to be present in each moment without the worry of always being viewed in a certain way. Finally, allowing your exterior to reflect your interior will lead to acceptance and healing for both yourself and those around you. So, it's basically saying, I guess the best way to put it is what we went through earlier, right? Like I'm sitting here going, I'm afraid people are going to judge me. I'm afraid people are going to make fun of me. I'm afraid people are going to take this message the wrong way when we talked about dissociative disorders and talking about, sex. All right. I always get the giggles because I always part of me I think is just a child, but I get the giggles too because you're kind of like, oh God, what is someone going to think? What is someone I know going to watch this? But we got to not care about that. We got to not care about that. The way to truly help people is to be 100% honest and open. Now that doesn't mean if you heal your trauma, you need to go out there and start sharing it with the world. If it is something you're comfortable doing, then do it. It is something I am comfortable doing, so I do it. I also, like I said, have the gift of writing and the gift of gab, so it really kind of helps. And, I just, somehow I pull thoughts out of the air. I have no idea. My dad always seemed very impressed by the fact that, I have notes, but everything else is just me. He's all, I don't know how you do that. He's all, you pick a subject and you just talk about it. Well, I don't know. I'm sure spirit has something to do with it. I'm sure my higher powers and the universe has something to do with it. But a lot of it does just come from my brain and my feelings. And when we're passionate about something, we shouldn't hide it. We shouldn't hide who we are to please others. That's people pleasing. And that is actually a side effect of sometimes a dinged up mental health or trauma. When you've suffered through trauma with any type of abuse, any across the board, emotional, physical, maybe you were in an accident, anything, you're just so worried people aren't going to like you anymore. Or you're just so worried people aren't going to like you. Even grief can be traumatic. There was one person that I saw on Twitter that had lost someone, or maybe it was Facebook, and they're like, it's been a month since I lost this person, and everybody seems to have gone back to their lives. And that's how it was when my mom died. Everybody's there. Then mom passes away, and then as the weeks went on towards her funeral, because the funeral was about 3 weeks later, You know, everybody was like, are you okay? Can we do anything? But after the funeral, it was like everybody just disappeared. And you can't blame them. They went back to their lives. You know, the love you feel for a person that you've lost is felt by others, but not to the level that you do. And that can be traumatizing. You know, when you lose somebody, the firsts are traumatizing, but they never talk about the seconds. So you're always ready for the firsts. They hurt, you're ready, you're like, okay, you know, here comes this holiday, I'm going to deal with this. But when the seconds come along, you know, people are gone again. People aren't there. They're there for your firsts because they worry about you. They're nervous about how you're going to handle it, if you're going to handle it okay. And then the seconds come along and it's like, oh, well, they should be fine now. But grief is not. Grief doesn't have a time limit. Grief is as long as somebody feels they need to go through it, or as long as it takes them to come, you know, to come out of it and figure out how to handle this pain for the rest of their lives. So, you know, that's a duality thing as well, because they may put on a smiley face for everybody else, but then they go home and they're just a wreck. So we can depend on people to see us through these things, but when it comes to duality and seeing yourself as being the same on the inside and the outside, that is truly up to us ourselves, just who we are. A lot of that is self-love. If you feel like you're this amazing person on the outside, but you can't stand how you look on the outside, you got to find a way to bring it together. You know, you got to love who's on the outside as much as who is on the inside, because that's where your light shines. That's what draws people to you. You know, I mean, you could be the most charismatic person in the world, you know, but if you don't love yourself, it gets harder and it gets draining, and you're depleting your own, you know, energy simply based on the fact that, you know, you're people pleasing. Your charisma is about people pleasing for people, and you deserve better than that. Okay, so let's move on to the Enchanted Oracle deck. This has been a deep oracle. This has not been as fun as I thought it would be today. Well, the cards told me, didn't they? I don't even have to shuffle again. These two just flew right out of the deck. Vessel, number 14, Vessel. Why does this feel like it's going to be a duality card? Admit your true feelings. There you go. Admit your true feelings in the Vessel. Number 14. All right. I could say a million things about that, but I feel like I've kind of already talked about it, right? Admit your true feelings. I'm going to go back to the healing deck where we talked about sexual arts, and I giggled. And then I said, oh God. And then I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to say what I got to say. Just going to say what I got to say, because I have in the past. Nothing's really ever held me back. But, except for overthinking and worrying about what other people are going to think. But this is my show. And what I say on my show is all my perspective. But I feel like sometimes we just have to be honest to help other people. You know, I've never had anybody be honest with me about these things. The whole dissociative thing, I had to discover on my own. I had to figure it out myself, because people stigmatize it so much. People sit there and go, oh, well, we don't talk about those things. Hey, why was your door closed this morning when I got, you know, who cares? People do it. Literally, people do it. All right? Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. It's a natural act. And I need to remind myself of that. I don't know why I giggle. Maybe I giggle because I know someday, I will not be alone in my room doing these things. But I know. And I think part of me just laughs at that because it's like a freedom. It's admitting your true feelings. I don't want to be shy about things. I don't want to be quiet about things. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to get out there into the world. You know, but sometimes in order, like with the duality card, sometimes in order for what we're feeling on the inside to match what we're feeling on the outside, you have to admit your true feelings. All right, so the orris powder is the ground root of the gorgeous purple iris. Redolent of excuse me, redolent of violets. God, I cannot talk. All right, we ready for this? Let me try this again. Orris powder is the ground root of the gorgeous purple iris, or Germanica. Redolent of violets, orris root was used in medieval times by Dominican monks to bind precious perfumes. On a metaphysical level, the iris encourages gentle yet powerful emotional healing. Oh, I like this one. Healing and growth. See, those cards. That's why we did the New Orleans deck first instead of that one, because growth and duality. The unicorn offers assistance if you have been feeling obligated, less than, drained, or resentful. Perhaps someone is treating you badly and you keep making excuses for their behavior. Maybe you dislike someone or something you were supposed to like, and you have struggled with these feelings. You know what? I know somebody who is going through something similar to this, and not me. And I feel like if you're watching, this card is for you. So, in the privacy of your own mind, finally admit to yourself how you truly feel. No more trying to block negative thoughts and be the nice guy. Well, actually, they unblocked themselves, and they say exactly what they feel. But anyways, no more holding the heavy burden of unpleasant emotions in this body, your human vessel. When you admit to these less than loving feelings, it opens up a space for healing. Maybe you feel that as a spiritual person, you must be caring and supportive of everyone, but this doesn't need to be at the expense of your own emotional health. Often, the most spiritual thing you can do is speak plainly and refuse to accept petty or demeaning behaviors. If you are in a situation you do not like or around people that make you feel drained and upset, you are allowed to leave. No one person is more important than the other. You absolutely have the right to choose who to spend your time with. Okay, so here's the thing. For the person I know, if you are watching this later, whenever, this is your validation, which you probably don't need. But I'm telling you now because someone's telling me to tell you. This is your validation that what you're doing is the right thing. This is your validation that, you have struggled. And, see? Okay, so, I'm not sure if I'm being as transparent, but or non-transparent as I want to be. But you know what? This is validation. This is validation. I'm going to skip the comment on that one because it's a little personal, but this is validation for you. And to be honest, this person says they feel very, very validated or very, very liberated today. It can be liberating when you stop worrying about what somebody else is doing. Here's the thing. This is one of the hard lessons that I've had to learn. We cannot fix people. We cannot change them. We can do our best to guide them in the direction that they need to be guided into. But some people are resistant because they're resistant to change. They're resistant to anything being different. And they get scared. And because they get scared, they keep putting themselves in the same situations that are not good for their emotional or physical health. But that's not our problem. We want it to be because there are certain people in this world that we want the best for. That you want the best for. But we can't make their decisions for them. So what we can do is protect our own emotional health. Be true to our feelings. Be honest with our feelings. Be straightforward with, look, you know what? Maybe you don't want to listen to me, but this is your pattern. This is your pattern. And it's a consistently bad pattern. But we go off, we say what we feel, and then we go live our lives. And sometimes it's by leading by example that sometimes the truth comes around and they start to see it. We can always hope. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we can always hope. So for those of you who have done this and feel liberated today, I'm proud of you. I'm truly, truly proud of you. Because this is your vessel, and your vessel deserves to be treated like Fort Knox. Maybe not Fort Knox, because Fort Knox is pretty closed off, right? Like a beautiful meadow with beautiful flowers and beautiful trees and a little brook running in there with little animals flitting about, little birds flitting about, right? Because that's what you deserve. You deserve that peace. You deserve that harmony. You know, there's enough traumas that people go through in life that they have to deal with themselves without having to deal with other people's bullshit. I'm just going to say it straight out, bullshit. And it sounds terrible, but it's true. So, for all of you who have done this or feel like doing this, I feel like this is your card. This is kind of a general card, but I feel like this is your validation as well. So it says, bury me. Not berry, but nummies. Nummies, right? Little berries. Take some time for yourself. Take some time for yourself. Okay, you know what? Hold on. There was a... Okay, so on this last card though, number 14, which was the vessel, there is a metaphysical side to this as well. The unicorn magic. The unicorns bring a special prayer bag recipe for you to create. This little sachet will prompt you to protect your personal boundaries. So the Oris Mojo, all right, you can get a little resin bag, whatever, like that. And it's 1 tablespoon ground orris root, which is the lily root, 3 drops jasmine essential oil, 1 small bay leaf, and 1 small drawstring bag. 1 small drawstring bag. But if you don't have an orris root, look up what could be similar to that. You could also probably use, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. I think roses can be used, like dried rose petals. I believe those can be used in place of other things. You just have to set that intention, okay? Place all ingredients inside the drawstring bag. My reading today, and keep this mojo in your bra or pocket. The beautiful scent will remind you that you are not obligated to give your precious time and energy away to anyone. All right, so your energy is precious. So bury me. Take some time for yourself. Red currants are believed to purify the blood with their astringency and wealth of vitamins and minerals contained within. However, they are sharp and acid and require sweetening. The bright red berries of the red currant resemble tiny rubies and promise better days ahead. Magically, red currants are used in love spells, and this includes self-love rituals. Self-love. Remember, starting on August 15th, we're going to start the 30 days of self-love, and this one's going to be fun. All right? So, the divination. Bury me gently reminds us to stop trying to do so much or take too much on. This unicorn with eyes closed is suffering from a busy, scattered mind that says, bury me under the eiderdown and let me rest. This sense of overwhelm stems from putting everyone else first and yourself last, leading to feelings of anxiety and stress. Practice the art of saying no to demanding work colleagues, friends, and family members. The appearance of this card highlights the classic bitten off more than you can chew trap. Explore the reasons why you do too much for others at the expense of your own mental and physical health. Is it guilt or the need for control? Everyone's overwhelm limit is different, and it is important to remember this if you feel the need to judge others for not doing enough. You may feel virtuous for taking on so many things, but at what expense? Give yourself a much-needed break, time to relax and ponder, and space to think and create. I used to be a people pleaser like this, but mine was not because, where was it? Mine wasn't out of guilt. Mine was out of control, needing to control. Because, you know, when you, regardless of what your trauma is, when you go through certain things, sometimes you feel like you need to control situations to keep yourself safe. And that's where my thing was coming from. Sometimes I think it might have been out of guilt, but most of the time it was out of just control. So, the Bury Me Unicorn proposes that you take a pajama day, otherwise known as a mental health day. Give yourself just one day and the permission to do whatever you fancy. No musts or shoulds or have-tos. Just acres of free time and no demands. You can even stay in your pajamas all day, eating tasty snacks and not answering any phone calls or emails. Bliss. True bliss. So, there you have it. That's the self-care card and the self-love card for today. You know, you don't have to have a dinged up mental health to take a mental health day. All right. I mean, you know, if you're feeling if you feel yourself going downhill, take a vacation day. You know, if you call in sick, you kind of limit yourself to what you can do because you don't want to get out there and be caught, right? Like, oh my God, hey, I thought you were sick yesterday. Well, I needed a mental health day, so I went to Disneyland. Just take a day off. Or if, you're gonna call in sick and you trust your boss, just say, look, you know what, I need a day off. I'm gonna take a sick day tomorrow because I just need to go and play. Because my head is just, no, be careful, because not every boss can be trusted. But if you do trust your boss and they do understand it's not a busy time for you, then do it. But if they don't, then take a vacation day. All right, take a vacation day. And, give them enough time in case, so they know, because there is workload, there are responsibilities out there. But take time for yourself. All right. We had some good cards today. We talked about duality and growth, about being a vessel and, not taking anyone's bullshit, about being yourself and seeing yourself and being that one person as a whole. We talked about the sexual arts and how to keep that spice alive in your love life, or even moving a little sideways to people who, like me, have the dissociative order that we are learning how to handle, that we are learning to work through and to heal. And, those things can be very, very important. So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Think about the cards, and I'm going to suggest this. If you feel like something is close to resonating with you, but it isn't, maybe take the time in a week or so to come back and see. Listen to this again, watch it again, and say, oh, you know what? Now I get it. Now it's hitting me. Because you may be at the end of that growth. If you're at the beginning, it could take a little longer. It just depends on how much you resist. Healing and the time it takes to heal is about how much we resist. Now remember, when it comes to healing, you are possibly going to have to revisit the same subject over and over and over again. And you're going to think, good Lord, what is happening? Triggers, healing, feeling, all of it, growth. It's like an onion. You got to keep peeling and peeling and peeling. It's layer after layer after layer. And sometimes it's like phyllo dough. Okay, if you're familiar with cooking and you know what phyllo dough is, you know that it's very, very fragile and very, very sensitive, but it's also layers and layers and layers. I believe beef Wellington is made out of phyllo dough. So if you've ever had a beef Wellington, all right, which is wrapped in the phyllo dough, look at the dough. Okay, even a croissant, look at the croissant. How many layers are in there? Because it's folded and folded and folded until it's made. And that's what feelings are. They're layers and layers and layers. And if there's the more the trauma, the more the layers. So don't be surprised if you come back and have to revisit something, and don't be angry at it. It's coming up because it knows you're ready to heal this part again. You may go through one part of healing and then a week later go through something else, and then 2 weeks later you might be back to this one because that layer is ready to be removed. I'm sharing this because, like I've said in past perspectives, I am a class A resistor. I resisted healing because it scared me. I didn't trust myself, which made me not trust other people. I leaned too far in and became codependent on some of the people that I was hoping would help me through my journey, which, almost ruined one of those relationships because I became too dependent. And then when I would become upset, I would try to fix their lives. And I can't. We can't. The only life we can fix is our own. We can share, we can guide, we can listen, but we can't fix other people. We can be there for them and help, them navigate that map of healing, especially if we've been through it ourselves. But it's up to them how long it takes them to travel this road and how long it takes them to get from point A to point B. And like I said, I'm sharing this because I don't want other people to have to go through that, to resist so much that your healing takes years, when I truly believe I could have cut that time in half. But I'm there now. I can feel things again. I'm feeling things again. And I giggled because I am feeling things again. Because I'm not sitting there trying to push things down that I don't want to believe in. Just under 2 weeks ago, I was on my way home from Comic-Con, and I had to make I had to verbalize out loud that I had hoped my depression was trauma-based, But then I had to come to the realization that it's a chemical thing. And when I did that, I liberated myself. It hurt. I cried for a couple days. Because, you know, when you go through things in life, you already feel broken. And I didn't want to feel any more broken than I already did. But then I realized, remember the story about the kanji bowls and the art of kanji in Japan, where when something breaks, they put it back together, but they use gold so that where all the cracks have this beautiful gold, you know, design that's holding it back together, because that's what healing does. And we can shine our light on it, and we can make it as precious as gold is when it's holding that bowl together, because that's what healing is. It's a precious moment in our life that we choose to move forward into. And we can resist it and be angry and sad about it, or we can move into it and lean into it and really see where it can take us. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. We'll be back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time with gratitude lesson number 28. We're at number 28 already. So, you can find me under Shelly Marie Lucas on Facebook Live. It is public. Anybody can watch, or you can watch the replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. I hope everybody has, again, have a great, great day. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to everybody on Monday.